Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Dawn of Discussion with your favorite host, Guy and Ron. Before we begin, yeah, okay, mistakes were made. I had a massive beard when I came back from Portugal, and the first thing I thought to myself is everything must go, and I will never do that again because I look severely overweight now, which is what I am, but I just don't want to look like it. Um, so yeah, you don't you look fine. Even you.
To be fair, my beard is never like.
That's true. You do keep it quite sophisticated. I'd like to say.
I mean, I
Um,
just prefer the term lazy.
that's fine too. Anyway, how's it going? How have you been for the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, I've been good. I've been good. Uh, Watching the football and the heartbreak. I won't say disappointment because I can't be disappointed we reached the final. I know
Yeah,
people probably like, oh, you can be disappointed that we didn't win. It's like, yeah, but they're all super young. But yeah,
and I think it's further than England has come in several years.
not several, 55
Well,
to
there you
be
go.
precise.
There you go. So that's still a pretty good feat to be fan of. But if we want to start talking about football, let's talk about the things that have transpired in at least the last two games.
Yeah. So,
Uh,
just quickly, because for anyone who might be watching, for anyone who wants to know, Ron's not a particular fan of football, so we're not going to
no.
bother talking about the result at all, because that will only interest a very few people, including myself.
To be fair, everyone knows the result at this point, even if you don't watch
Yeah, but
football.
it's more certain parts of the result, which I can't go into because you don't care. But there were certain points where I feel like certain things should have been given and certain red cards should have been handed out, but they never were because
Mm.
the Italians get away with murder, literally.
Yeah, literally.
Um, But anyway, moving on from that, back onto the point. Racism in football. Uh, Something
It.
that there has been for a very long time, and honestly, I don't see ending anytime soon, sadly.
Mm.
Mainly because I just don't see racism ending anytime soon, sadly.
Yeah, but like, I'll be honest, racism is only part of it. I think, because basically, okay, let me preface this by saying we've talked about fans before of
Yeah,
various different things. I think we've talked about predominantly like Star Wars fans and Batman fans and Zack Snyder fans in general and other fans that just kind of create a toxic environment and make it difficult for you to actually like be fan of the thing that they sort of claim to represent, even though
yeah,
the things that they represent aren't anything bad necessarily. The people who are representing it um, are giving it a very bad name.
yeah.
While this is true for Star Wars and Batman and all of those things that we've talked about before, most of these don't, in my opinion, get anywhere close to how toxic English football fans can be.
I would slap you for just saying English football fans because the fact that you think it may just be English annoys me.
I'm not saying just English.
Then don't say English football fans, just say football fans.
Okay, fine, football fans.
I will defend England on that much alone. We're not the worst, and nor should we be pointed out as the only people that are
Okay,
wrong.
so how many
Because
other how many other countries have been booing other people's anthems?
Italy once did several, not that actually not that long ago, I think as well. Other
Really?
nations have done it, but I think I've only noticed England fans doing it. Well, recently
Okay.
this tournament. In fact, I've never noticed England fans doing it before, and I think it was really bad in the Germany game.
Hmm.
It was pretty bad in the Denmark game. It wasn't nearly as bad in the Italy game, but I think it's because a lot of fans who went there could afford the ones that could go there were a little more sophisticated simply because they could afford to go because tickets weren't cheap at that point.
True.
And
However, there were reports of people, a small group, granted, but still people getting in without the ticket.
yeah, but at the same time, that's just that you can. That's not just specific to football. I would argue that's in anything. I encounter that in the
Right.
cinema, people sneaking in without tickets and causing mayhem. It
Y-
happens.
Yes, but I
It's
think
not a defense. It's just saying it
yeah,
happens. It's not specific to football.
I think it's just the environment of that though. Comparing cinema to football, I think it's slightly different because with cinema, I think it's just like, not that it's any good, but it's just kind of inherent in culture at this point to just go like, oh, no one's looking. Let me just sneak into a film real quick and just be dicks and shit. But with football, it's like, you know, there's a whole ordeal about like buying tickets. First of all, the tickets are much more expensive, so there's more security like expected at least.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more frustrating when it happens at football games. I'd say. I might be
Yeah,
wrong.
no, of course. No, absolutely. I would argue it would be because I nearly did go, in fact, to the actual final. I
Hmm.
very nearly wanted to go, and ultimately decided it was just too expensive. And if I had gone, I would have been going by myself, which doesn't intrigue me as much,
Yeah,
if
it's a
I'm
bit
honest.
pointless if you can't go with friends.
Yeah, exactly. Or a friend at the very least,
Yeah,
someone who's really
exactly.
into competition. But yeah, but
Cause
yeah, football hooliganism
yeah,
is, I think, it is, as many people know, it is the worst part of football.
what do you think of the laser pen situation?
That was fucking disgusting. Honestly, unacceptable. I can only be thankful for the fact that it actually didn't affect the penalty initially, because Kasper Schmeichel, the Denmark
Yeah,
goalkeeper, did save it, and he even confirmed after the match didn't it had no effect on him during the penalty. And the only reason it was scored is because Kane followed it up at the end. But yeah, so in the end, it didn't affect him. But it apparently was really bad in the second half of extra time. So once again, still disgusting. It's still awful, and it's completely unacceptable. And it shouldn't. The guy should be fined quite heftily. Not because yeah, if he's found out who he is, which I'm not 100% sure if they could even do, but if they find out who he was,
no,
they need to give him a fucking massive fine to make a point that you just cannot ever do it ever.
because the
Because
massive
fine,
fine has been dished out, but unfortunately not to the fans.
yeah, exactly. It's been dished out to the actual
Yeah.
English FA, which still is important. The FA needs to be fined, so that way it will take it more seriously going forward.
Hmm.
But at the same time, it's sorry,
Yeah.
not the English football fans who do that kind of shit don't care about the FA, and they don't really care about the sport itself. They're just there to get attention. Kind of like the guy that ran onto the pitch in the final, because there's a reason why
Yeah.
they showed no footage of it, because they didn't want to give him attention
With
on national television or internet or European continental television, because it would be an insult to the players and to
yeah.
the sport, because it's about them and not about some fucking hoon.
Also, it'd be a validation of his actions as well. So that if
Yeah,
if anyone
exactly.
found it funny, they'd go like, "Oh shit, I could be that guy."
Because I know it may sound weird, but I even think they shouldn't have shown the laser going across Casper's face in a video, because all that will do is make him watch it and go, "Ha! Look, I did that," and give him validation in that sense. If they had just simply said someone pointed a laser pen at Casper Michael's face, it's unacceptable, and maybe provided an image,
Yeah.
that would be enough, I think, to say, "Hey, look, it's unacceptable."
In
But
a way, yes, but I think those cases are different again because a laser pointer, like someone, okay, he wasn't streaking, was he? He was just running around on the field.
yeah, it's just running around on the field.
That's that's just annoying and it stops the game.
Yeah,
But pointing a laser pen at someone's eyes is actually dangerous. Like you can actually
yeah,
fucking burn someone's retina out if you're not careful. And let's be honest,
yeah.
the fan who did it probably didn't particularly care about being careful.
Oh no, absolutely not. No,
So that
I
in
mean,
itself then becomes a problem.
yeah, because it's the same thing of this is a really weird, and I'm probably gonna get some stick from friends of mine for speaking about this. So that after the England Germany game, there was
Mm,
images flashed up of a German girl crying because Germany lost.
right.
Fair enough. Kids cry when their team loses in football. It's really sad.
Yeah, you're
There
passionate.
were there were three things that happened that followed this. One of which, the girl got a lot of abuse. Well, there is abuse thrown in the direction of the girl, but the issue is I doubt she's old. I doubt she has Twitter, doubt she has Instagram. I doubt people messaged her directly with the insult. So I doubt it reached her personally.
Could,
But regardless, football fans saying, "Oh, she's a cunt or a
yeah,
bitch"
of
or whatever is unacceptable still.
course.
Thirdly, and this is where I'll probably get some slack from people, someone had the fucking brilliant idea, for whatever reason, to decide, I'm going to raise £25,000. Okay, fair enough. What for? To give to that German girl. because she cried because her
Okay.
team lost.
Do you know what? I'll be honest. £25,000, you said?
Yeah.
That's not going to buy her team the win. So what's the point of this?
Yeah, I mean, because Ross, I told Ross about this, and he said, if everyone did that, there'd be a lot of very wealthy kids in England right now.
Oh yeah.
From all the years of all the pain and stuff, misery of watching England play. But I don't think she should have. And if he's going to then say, "Oh, well, I raised 25,000 quid because she was abused," and one thing I'm going to say, I don't think she had Twitter. I don't think the abuse reached her
Here's the thing.
directly.
I think it's safe to assume that any young person at this point has some form of social media, including Twitter.
True, but whether or not they were able to find her on social media,
People can be
and
crafty.
they can, but there again, I don't feel like the average English fan would be that crafty. Let's be fair.
Well, here's where I'm coming from, right? Even let's assume she does have Twitter and Instagram or whatever. And let's assume that the average English fan or England fan is that crafty and did find her and did send her abuse personally. Again, why does she deserve to have that amount of money just because some people said nasty words?
Yeah, yeah. I think glad you agree with me on that because I got some stick from
Yeah,
people for saying that, and I think in the end it's sort of once again, no abuse being thrown at anyone should be tolerated whatsoever.
of
That she
course not.
shouldn't be compensated because someone said some mean words to her or about her.
Yeah,
You know, that's not how you develop a thick skin. You need to just take it on the chin and move forward. Because if everyone got a little antsy or pissy about something mean someone said to them, no matter how cruel or abusive, and it's fair. Having said that, going to move on to next about something else particularly, which happened after the final specifically. But
yeah.
it just I don't think it made sense. I
Because
feel I
if it
feel I felt bad for her, but at the same time I didn't feel that bad for her because I'm like, honey, I've been there for longer than you have, and to be fair,
yeah,
it's about time. It's about time we beat you in an actual tournament. So so I
because
you know
if that were true, then you could just go out and say, "Oh, this guy insulted all of the English football fans. Give me £25,000 because he abused me in a way that I cannot tolerate."
exactly. There
Which,
you
by the
go.
way, if you do that, I'm assuming we're splitting.
Sure.
Cool. Then I'm okay with it.
But now moving on to points where I think words. So here's the thing. I'm sure as you may have heard after the whole racism incident. So in the penalty, in if you didn't watch the game or anything, in the penalties, England's 5 penalty takers. The first 2 that scored were both white. The following 3 that missed were all black. Which, of course, at that point we all knew was not going to end well,
Yep.
and it didn't. So a lot of abuse. Interestingly, though, a lot has been thrown out, and a few things hit me. One, we talked about it, and even you and I kind of agreed on it at the start, saying, "Oh, taking the knee at every game, it loses its meaning." And
It
now
does.
thinking back on it and seeing this tournament, I think weirdly, I don't think it does. Well, it does, but it still needs to be done because they still. It's a
I
strange
see
conundrum because
I see where you're coming from, but the fact that it happened is exactly my argument for saying it's pointless to do that every time. Because think about it, they did bend the knee, or they did kneel for the anthem or whatever, and then it still happens.
it
Like
wasn't
I'm
for
not
the
I'm
anthem. But yeah,
oh, okay, well they kneeled regardless.
yeah,
In the US they kneel for the anthem because that's kind of the whole point.
yeah. It
It's
doesn't
basically
make.
that you're not standing up for the anthem because you don't, you have a problem with systemic
That's,
oppression, which is really
I
not what
think
this is.
the issue is looking at the two. With America, they blur the national anthem out when they're not playing against different countries.
Yeah,
So it's a big thing to do. Whereas here, the national anthem's only really played during international games, and therefore doesn't. And it's more not about taking a stance against your own country; it's about taking a stance globally against racism. But yeah,
sure. My
but yeah,
my point still stands though, where all you're doing by kneeling is saying that you oppose racism, which is, it's a very nice gesture, and you can't fault anyone for doing that. But to expect that will bring in some sort of change, I think is a bit far fetched.
I think weirdly it did, because initially when it happens and there's because here's the thing, racism in football is no new thing. It's happened before in lots of games, and the most that's ever happened is clubs or nations have been fined, and
Yeah,
that's it. But this time, everyone took a stance against it. Everyone, not just the team, but a lot of the fans as well. They started, they went to a Marcus Rashford mural and started leaving things there to sort of dedicate to him, like, we're with you on this. Um, and to be fair, I think this is a rather stupid one, but I can kind of understand the point, but I don't think it makes sense and I don't think it will work. There's a petition to ban racism in football, which, by the way, as a
good
petition,
luck.
yeah, you have to
That's
get it's a petition works against a government when
yeah,
they've done something you don't want them to do. Petition doesn't work against an individual fan who doesn't give a shit about your opinion in the first place.
yeah,
But regardless, so and the thing is, though, over a million. Initially, they just wanted 10,000 signatures. They have over a million at this point, and they're going to go higher and higher and higher. And I think the thing is, interestingly, I think taking the knee has proved a point to fans that they need to stay, because the whole point is the whole team does it and they're united, and therefore it's about showing unity. It's not about them trying to make a change. It's about them showing people we need to stand together, which I think has kind of worked.
um,
Because there's never been as much of a fight back
yeah,
against racism in football ever in my lifetime, at the very least, that I've noticed up to this point.
sure. I mean, this happened obviously before the match started. That
What?
they took the stance.
The knees? Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Of
Okay,
course.
because I'd argue the main difference between Sunday and any other football game, for the most part, is that the racist actions had actually been undertaken after the match, which does strengthen that resolve, and I agree with that. The way I'm seeing it though is I think it's not enough to just say racism is bad. It should just be actively discouraged wherever you go, and not for the sake of saying, oh, because it's bad. It's just because you don't treat other human beings this way.
Yeah.
You treat a black man like you would treat any person, really.
Yeah.
And above all, like the main thing that always needs to be considered is, yeah, people are going to be racist against them because they make some sort of weird logical conclusion that because the black players missed the goal, then somehow their skin color, it makes them at fault. But what still
Yeah.
stands is the fact that they are very good football players, purely you know purely recognized by the fact that they are in the national team.
Yeah.
Which, there's a lot of English football players out there in England and all over the world playing in their respective teams, yet these guys are in the national team. And that does
Yeah.
really mean something.
Yeah.
That should be indicative of their skill. So this is the problem with racism, is that it keeps getting perpetuated by the people who believe the ideals that are in there. And so for me, like, taking the knee is showing other people who would have taken the knee that they agree with them. I think it's not really showing anything to the people that they already disagree with the sentiment. And being an American ideal, I mean, what does America know really? They've just come out and said that American football is essentially gay. So you know we'll talk about that later. But like, I don't know. I think it's a kind of void gesture at that. And to be honest, like, I think sports are riddled with racism when you think about it, like all over the world, like in
Oh yeah.
America and here and everywhere. Because unfortunately, that oh, Tammy's gone. She literally just came in and fucking went away again. Um, I've always, um, I've always felt that racism should be tackled not in someone's adulthood because it's far too late. Like, ideals will be settled by then. People aren't that likely to change in adulthood. You,
Uh,
you, you start young.
I agree, but here's the other point. This England national team is very young, and a
Yes,
lot of young kids are going to be looking to them for inspiration. Therefore, it shouldn't be taking the knee more of a gesture to that younger generation about taking that stance.
I can agree with that.
Because I think that's the thing. The taking of the knee is is an interesting one because I do understand your point, but I think
Yeah.
interestingly, I've like all things can do, minds can change, and I think I'm starting to lean to the idea like I can agree and accept what they're doing.
Yep.
Not sorry, I can accept and agree with what they're doing because on the basis alone, because in England's four knockout games, Germany took the knee with England,
Yep.
Denmark applauded England,
Hmm.
and Italy took the knee as well. The one team in those four games that did nothing was the Ukraine, which I think spoke volumes because going back further, when the Ukraine played at the Allianz Arena uh, in Germany during Pride Month, the German FA said we want to light up the Allianz Arena with the Pride Month flag because it's Pride Month.
Sure.
And here's the issue because Ukraine was playing and they're not just racist, they're homophobic, and they basically said that
Eh,
they said they were going to riot and just completely go against it if it happened, and the UEFA board said no, you can't do it, can't put up a pride flag,
I'd
which I think
say Ukrainians in general tend to be more conservative. I wouldn't say that they're homophobic as such. Maybe maybe the people in charge of the football team, the national football team of Ukraine are, but
yeah,
they're not as a country, and they're not they're not really racist. They're just ignorant on most cases because let's be honest, most people of, you know, different ethnic backgrounds other than like, you know, Balkan kind of people or like Eastern Europeans, they don't really have anything to do in Ukraine, so they just generally don't go there. So that's why like often Ukrainian people just kind of they have very backwards
but
opinions about ethnic minorities because for the most part they just don't encounter them daily.
well, the
I would
issue
call
is
them
I have
ignorant.
they are ignorant, but that's still a part of racism. That's the issue, and I could
I don't know. I feel like racism has malintent behind it. I
because
don't think
the
that's
well
what this is.
here's the issue when in 2012 when Ukraine and Poland hosted the Euros,
Mm,
black players playing for different national teams got fucking were basically just given shit and were in hell because of the Ukrainian and Polish fans giving them shit the entire fucking time. Specifically them. When so let's say particularly let's say Italy, when they were playing against say Ukraine.
mm.
When white Italian players got the ball, the Ukrainian fans did nothing. When black Italians got the ball, booing and jeering. Which I think at that point, it's like, well, at that point, that doesn't seem like ignorance. That
Then
seems a little,
that's fair.
that's targeted.
Well,
And I think
like you said, it's football fans all over the world.
it is football fans all over the world because here's the issue, you know, as soon as I feel like football fans on in general globally have a very low IQ because switching to it weirdly
Yeah.
sticking with Italy, and I'm going to stick with Italy a lot through this.
Oh, okay.
Um,
So this is
so
just salt, is what this is.
it is, but it's also to prove a point because
Okay.
everyone was rooting for Italy because they thought Italy were the good guys. I'm like, have you not seen football ever? Italian fans are no better than us. But anyway, um, in club football,
Mm,
Juventus, one of the big Italian clubs,
yes.
played another club, and one of the best club's players were black, and they kept jeering and booing, and specifically him. And this kind of perpetuated because when that Italian player played for the national team and he kind of took a stance against it, one of his fellow Italian teammates who plays for Juventus told him, "Don't do that. Don't egg on the fans. Just stick to football." And I thought, that is, you can't tell him that because if he wants to take that stance, that's his right. And if he's going to jeer on the fans and if he's going to get repercussions for it, then let him face his own consequences.
This is a difficult one because
It is a difficult one
it depends,
because
and it depends on what tone he set. Because if he said like, "Oh, you can't do that because, you know, you can't just go out there and tell them that they're wrong because they will fucking, you know,
it didn't seem
because you or whatever," then yeah, that's awful. But if it's like, dude, you could lose your job over this, then I do see it like a teammate
yeah,
looking out for another player. Just
I
go
didn't see it
like yeah,
because it was
he should be allowed to receive advice like that and then choose to still go out and take a stance. But then if he, you know, gets fired because his, I mean, technically he has a court case on his hands if he does that, because and he could just go like, oh, you fire me because, you know, I'm black and I'm standing up for it. Okay, I guess I'll just sue you then.
yeah, because the thing is, like, because when that incident happened, it was on the pitch, and the actual player approached him on the pitch. And I thought, if it's the whole you could lose your job and or you could be attacked on the street, and I'm worried about your safety, you do it behind closed doors. You know, once you're in the locker room and you can actually have a proper sit down with him, that isn't fueled by emotion and the need
Yeah,
of take a stance against hatred when things have calmed down. But yeah, I think it's a very football is one of those very difficult situations because weirdly the one of the players that got the worst of it, Bayuko Saka, who missed the final penalty. Throughout this whole tour, people were praising, well, he's only 19, he's young, he's talented, he's so great, amazing, has his penalty saved. Immediately the villain. It's like you're on
yeah,
his side, and then the moment it goes wrong, oh, he's black, it's his fault. It just shows, I think, fans have flip flop attitude where
they
they
really
are
do.
racist when it not when it suits them. They are not racist when it suits them. That's a better term.
Yeah, because
Or they're not ignorant when it suits them. Yeah.
this is the thing as well. Like English people and Italian people as well, and I'd like to think that I know my fair share of Ukrainian people as well. For the most part, decent people.
Yeah.
There's like they'll get passionate about things, but not to this extent where it's like, you know, and
Yeah.
the whole idea as well that like your team for some reason like represents you personally. That's what I will
Yeah.
always find funny about everything.
I think the where the struggle I have with talking about people we know about, specifically, let's say Ukrainian people we know. It's like, okay, I know a Ukrainian person. I'm decent friends with them. Wait, I'm friends with them. He probably thinks a little bit like me, if that's the case. So he doesn't represent Ukrainian people that I know. He
No, no,
represents.
I know Ukrainian people are absolute shitbags,
Yeah,
but
and that's the point. I think
they'll still not be racist or anything. I just don't
yeah,
personally like them.
fair enough.
You know.
But because yeah, I think in the end, sports. When people say, "Oh, sports bring out the worst in people," I actually think no, it doesn't. I think weirdly, football brings out the worst in its fans. And
Yeah,
someone made a point saying, "Oh, you should ban the England national team from the next tournaments." And I thought that's a bit too harsh because
that is bad.
you're punishing a very good group of players who are very passionate and compassionate about these subjects. You shouldn't punish them. However, you should ban fans from going to the tournaments. I think that would be more of a stance because it's pointing out to the fans you're not going to be allowed in until you improve. And you're not going to be there. Let's say if England, let's say, win the next World Cup, but they do it, and there's not a single fan there to say I was there when England won. There's only one way the blame goes, and
Yeah,
that's not to the England players, that's to the England fans.
I
And
I
I think
still
that would be a better stance.
I still think you got to tackle these problems with like people of younger age as well, and like when they're, I think first of all, no matter where you are, no matter how like what your situation is or anything, no, I don't even care what race or gender or whatever you are. I think every single child growing up needs to play football at some point,
Yeah.
right? Just to get the idea, because I think out of all of the sports out there, in terms of team sports, it is by far one of the most accessible ones, and
Yeah.
it's one of the most like the easiest ones to learn, the easiest ones to kind of get into, and when you look globally, one of the more popular ones anyway.
And I think the other thing is as well, it's also one of the most fun to play
It is.
as yourself. I think that's the thing. You can look at all these different sports and think you can look at a lot of sports and think they're boring to watch, but then playing them is entirely different. For example, cricket, even I think is fairly boring to watch, but I actually do enjoy playing it.
Fair
But
enough.
that's the big difference between playing the sport and watching the sport. Most sports are fun to play at versus
Fair enough. But one
at.
of the main things that these kids then need to learn while playing any sport is that you win by either your own merit or the merit of your team and your
Your team.
cooperation with each other and your communication of them. And when
Yeah.
you lose, it's not necessarily because you suck or because anyone sucks. Like if your opponent loses, even it's not because they suck. It's because their opponent just happens to be better in this game because
I mean,
they're better rested, they're better managed. happen to have a lucky day or something like that, it doesn't mean that they suck, except if you're India, because good
Oh,
God, their team is so fucking awful.
I mean,
It's actually funny.
it is a little bit that you do suck. Oh, just a little.
A little bit, yeah.
But
Um,
no, I
but
mean,
even
that's the
even if
thing.
you suck, like
Foot-
that's no reason for
I
abuse. You know what I mean?
no,
Like you at least
no,
you go out
absolutely.
and play.
Because I talked about it with Sarah, and she said she didn't like the aspect that football has luck to it, and she
Everything
says
does.
that I mean everything does. Yeah, I mean she talked about volleyball and how she thought that was because it's different because there's sets and things, and therefore the better team just proves they win. I'm thinking no, there's always luck in every sport.
Yeah,
In every sport, there's even if it's just a little, it's always there. There's always a little bit.
because
But
luck is ultimately just the direction that the ball happens to take after someone throws it or
yeah,
kicks it or whatever.
the positioning of the goalkeeper. Maybe he thought something and you got lucky with realizing you had a position that could take advantage. I mean, that's the point in the end. It's all there's luck that accompanies any sport.
Yeah,
Maybe during a game of baseball, there's a slight gust of wind that blows the ball ever so slightly further into your bat.
yeah, exactly. And
That might
even
be a
if
bit too far, but
even
still.
with like penalties as well, it's like
Penalties is
you've got your guy who kicks the ball and it has to be in the general vicinity of the goal, but there's still going to be someone there that either jumps in the right direction or for some reason has like a brain
or
fart moment, which
yeah.
doesn't happen professionally, obviously, but like you never know.
I
Oh,
think I will argue penalties are almost 90% luck.
really?
For the goalkeeper's perspective at the very least,
Okay,
because it's about guessing the direction where they're going to take the shot.
yeah,
So I'd say 90% luck and then 10% skill, because sometimes the player who fucking belts it into the goal. So if you did watch it, Harry Maguire's penalty, even if the Italian goalkeeper got lucky, got the correct direction, no fucking way he was saving that thing. That was just
yeah.
he broke the camera. I don't know how I can explain this
That's fucking
further.
cool, actually. That is
Because
actually really
like they
cool.
actually switched to the perspective, and you watch the ball go towards the camera, like, oh, this is going to be expensive, and then it did that basically glitch moment where there was like you could see half of it, and it was all black with a bit of static, and then it just
Oh,
went completely black, and I was like, yeah, that was expensive.
yeah. If you're ever gonna have that shot, it has to be in the finals.
I was so impressed, and
Yeah,
yeah. Anyway, let's probably try and move on now from football and try and get Tammy back.
sure.
Hey, Ross.
Hey, Ross, how's it going?
We're just talking about how there's no
Eurotalks,
place.
yeah,
Yeah, it's more talks about how there's no place for racism or intolerance or this sort of shit in
yeah,
not just football but across any sport.
yeah.
But
Also, just general
specifically,
thugness, because I did hear about the fact that like as I was like getting on my plane, there were people in Leicester Square just throwing bottles. It's like, come on, dude, you're not even there. Is this necessary? But yeah.
yeah,
But across the pond, they've got their own version of football, and like I said earlier, the NHL, the sorry, not the NHL, the NFL, rather, has committed to a commercial, a 30-second commercial, in which they proclaim that football is gay, and
American football.
yes, specifically, and all I can say to that is, we knew it all along. It just took a little bit of time, but they're finally there.
Yep, it's good
Good
that
job.
America can confirm that their probably most popular sport is in fact gay.
Yeah, we've been saying it for years, but finally they've been able to like make their peace with it. So
Yeah.
the general context of the article that I read about is basically there was one player whose name has escaped my mind real quick, but he came out as gay recently, and he has made a significant donation to the Trevor Project, which is a charity in America. And so the NFL decided we're gonna make a commercial to to support this. So they made a commercial where
I
basically
mean, this is American football,
this
so
is
it's not
American
really
football, yeah.
football. It's not really football because they use their hands. See, I told you.
This is different football. Don't worry.
And
Um
don't worry, we'll be moving on from the sports talk very
yeah,
soon.
to a more fun. thing. So basically, like the commercial is like 30 seconds, and it literally just starts off with football is gay, and then it goes football is lesbian, and then it says a couple of other things like football is. They always get you with the fine print. Yeah, if you're a American football player, you are categorically gay.
I mean, I don't want to be that person to shit on the company I work for, but it kind of reminds me of the view. This is not a cinema. This is a whatever. And I'm like, but it is a cinema.
Yeah, but like literally, like so the commercial literally just goes on saying like football is lesbian, football is coming together, which I don't know if they specifically said that, but that has a completely different meaning than what they probably meant. Football is queer, football is
Whatever.
excellence, and then football is everything. Football is inclusion. Isn't everyone gay? Well, to some extent.
Yeah.
And so basically it kept on going like that. And my favorite bit in the article was that the director of the NFL said that the first line of that commercial will be heard over and over and over inside of his head for the coming days, which means that all he's thinking about is football is gay, football is gay.
All is gay.
Oh man, it's not.
But
It's not a political thing or anything. I just thought it was funny that they phrased it in these ways.
yeah. But anyway, moving on now to football, but different football. But it
Mm,
is football, but it isn't the sport football. So,
mm.
in gaming news, I have a few did pieces for gaming news.
Oh, let's go.
Um,
Gamers.
FIFA 22 has been announced. Shockingly, the FIFA 22, who knew that was coming
Oh
out?
my
They've
god,
announced
it's that time of year again.
they've announced a new mode in it, which I've been fucking waiting for. And Ross is someone who does play FIFA, probably is hopefully
Mm-hmm.
looking forward to this as well. Is so there's a career mode thing, which you basically take a club, you play through it, and you win stuff with it.
Mm-hmm.
They're finally introducing your make your own club career mode,
What
which
does that mean?
you literally create your own club and go on and win stuff
What
with them. Which they
choose the clubs that you play?
no, you literally create your own club, put it in a league, and it goes on from there.
Oh, that's quite funny actually.
Which they've never they and here's the funny thing, and this is why I think it's amusing. They had this mode before, like 10 years ago, maybe even more, maybe like 15 years ago, and they're like, oh, you know what, guys, we should make a mode called create a club career mode or something, and then everyone's kind of going, wait, but what didn't we already have that? No, no. See, this is new EA. This is better EA. This is smarter EA. You mean EA that realizes there's stuff that's really good that you should never have taken out? We're gonna pretend that you didn't say that.
So Ross is saying so football ultimate team career mode?
Kind of. It's essentially
Custom players, I'm assuming.
um
Because that would be
yeah, I
well
assume
funny.
it's basically you start your club but no known players. You basically just get like a random generated team of players and that's it. But yeah, then so basically, Ross, you could start at like the very bottom tier of English football and then go on to win the whole Premier League title with them. And it could be called Ross FC, and you could end up signing Lionel Messi and stuff. So I'm down for it. I think it will be great. It's about fucking time they added him. But moving on from that, because I know Tammy doesn't
Yeah,
give a shit
she
about
says
that.
unless you get to hunt the players for sport, not sure why it's worth playing.
Yeah, so we'll move on for Tammy's sake because she's the only one that matters in all this.
Sure. Well, I
Yeah.
have something that you might Orc Boys Football Club. That's pretty good actually.
But
Moving to something that Tammy also doesn't particularly care about, but might enjoy. I Black Lightning season 4 was recently released on Netflix, and I've watched it all. And you know what? I really liked it, but there's something in it as well that you might find interesting. Black Lightning has finally done something that none of these DC shows have ever done. It ended. Oh,
damn, sorry, I just had to put a message in to.
that's fine. We'll get into that as well. It actually fucking ended.
So Black Lightning's over.
Yep. So it literally like There was an arc that started in the first season, and that's finished. And there's going to be a spin-off, but it's not going to be about the main characters anymore.
You mean Painkiller?
Yes.
It's been cancelled.
Oh.
They've just cancelled it.
But they made them so cool this season. What happened?
They've just cancelled it because no one watches Black Lightning.
Why does DC take everything away that I like?
No one watches what you like.
But it's good because now you don't have to go like, oh, there's gonna be fucking the 8th season is coming out. Better catch up.
What can I say? No one cares, Ron. Sorry.
Yeah. You know what's sad as well? There was one bit in it as well, where basically they said so something bad happened and they needed some technological gizmo thing. I don't remember what it was, and they were like, "Oh, there's only like 5 of them in the world." You know, there's one in Star Labs, and then Black Lightning goes, "Wait, Star Labs? I know someone who works there," and then literally
Ross,
just cuts.
Not bad. Ross,
it's
not bad that you've never heard of it because no one cares about it.
No one cares.
Including me. I never gave a shit about Black Lightning.
Okay, so this bit, right, is the perfect moment for a crossover, right? He goes like, I know someone who works at Star Labs. Let me give him a call. Literally, cut to the next scene. He has the device. And it's like, bro, you could have had Flash on. But and you just cut around that. It makes me sad.
I'll be honest, because I've watched some scenes from The Flash. Sorry, before we get into the full news, because I had other news, Ron, for gaming, but you just glossed over it.
Sorry. I just want to get this out of the way.
I know, but I wanted this was literally going to be like a 5-minute. It's too late now. I'm not going to talk about it. We'll carry on with Flash. So anyway, and the Flash series honestly looks god awful. They've introduced Bart Allen, but it looks terrible.
Yeah.
It generally. Yeah, the only good thing CW has going for it right now is Superman and Lois.
So
literally,
yeah. So what Tammy says is Black Lightning is how she was going to convert her cousins into nerd culture. I think it's a good stepping up point.
I would have thought Black Panther would be a better start, considering it's actually good versus Black Lightning, which is terrible.
Have you watched it?
What, Black Lightning? No.
It is so much better than Black Panther. I am willing to say I'm willing to go out there and say that, but he dead. They don't want to watch a dead guy. Well, there's a problem then, because there's a lot of films and TV shows out there with dead people in it. So yeah, that's going to be a problem.
Take the Fast and Furious franchise, for example.
Ross has a personal question. Okay, sure. Go on. What is it? Is this about me saying that Black Lightning is better than Black Panther? Because why so pale after your holiday? So, this is my come down. I haven't actually tanned. Let me tell you, I actually got burnt on several places.
Yeah, Ross, I'm not sure if you know that some people don't tan.
I don't.
I don't either.
I have the ginger genes. I cannot tan. The only thing that happened, right?
Ross, we have white Western/Northern European genes within us.
Eastern.
We don't, or Eastern in this case.
It's my camera. It's partially my camera. The only bit where I've tanned is on both hands, and it's like, if you can see it, like the top part of my backhand is slightly darker shaded than the rest of my arm.
I don't see it. Plus, also, to be fair, if you're thinking I have a tan, Ross, it's because I have more lighting, so it's giving off more of a glow. I look more golden versus Ron's blue ass.
That feels weirdly offensive to the people on Avatar. Blue?
Do we care?
What?
Do we care about blue people in Avatar? No, I don't think so.
You look radiant. I do, because Vin Diesel's gonna be in it. We're not gonna talk about that.
Wait, so Vin Diesel's
look like Casper? Fuck off, man.
So Vin Diesel's gonna be an Avatar?
I don't know what he's going to be, but he's gonna be in it. That's the interesting bit of information.
What you're saying is, what is without a doubt the most overhyped film in
Has become
history
slightly more overhyped. Yes.
because of family.
Yes.
Wow, you know what? Now everything Vin Diesel is going to be in is going to be ruined because he was an Avatar. Everything, everything,
I think it's going to be the opposite.
everything.
I think it's going to be the actual. Here's the
Fast and
thing.
Furious, overhyped piece of shit because Avatar and Vin Diesel was in both.
Look, if I try to correct my color, then now I look pretty decent, but guy looks fucking blown out. So that doesn't work.
Wow.
He looks like a fucking like he heard someone recommending Fast and Furious for the 500th time. Or this is this is just guy on fucking Sunday evening. Okay, let's not do that. So I'd rather be pale so he doesn't look like an absolute fucking tomato. He just tangoed. That seems about
I
right.
am a refreshing beverage. That's a lie.
A nice sugary drink.
Tango's not too bad actually.
Yeah, tango's alright.
But
Oh
trying to
yeah.
think of like
Do you have some gaming
anything
news
else
that you would like to share?
I'm not going to talk about now.
Oh, come on.
So a version of Super Mario 64 has just been sold for 1.5 million pounds.
Jesus
Sorry,
fucking
dollars.
Christ.
$1.5 million at an auction.
What version was this? I can't see it. It's fucking overexposed.
There we go.
It's just the game.
I know.
It's just the N64 game.
Okay, so the 1996 cartridge was launch title for the Nintendo 64 console and one of the most influential early 3D platformers. The auction house said there were fewer than 5 left. Fewer than
What?
5 left copies in good condition.
Oh, that's possible actually.
But here's the issue. Because it's worth $1.5 million and it's in good condition, if you play it, the condition's going to get worse, right?
Yeah, but you don't buy it to play it.
Then what's the fucking point?
You buy it because the game is now 25 years old, right? So so now you buy it for 1.5, right?
Yeah.
So if you wait another 25 years, you can sell it for 2 million. And people will buy that shit. It's not unlike any of the the premiere the debut comic books.
That's true.
Like
That's
fucking
very true.
Amazing Fantasy was like 15, or like like Action Comics 1. How much like does a good condition copy of Action Comics 1 fucking count at this point?
That's
I have one. Ross, is it in
Ross, if
new
it's in
condition?
good condition, for the love of God, sell it because you'll become a millionaire overnight, apparently.
Yeah. Literally just sell the game. However, if there's a scratch on it, you're fucked.
Yeah. If there's anything wrong with it, you're screwed.
This is why usually it sells well if you don't even take it out of the box. Which at that point is like, it's 1996. You buy the game. Why not fucking put it into the console?
That's the thing. This guy, if he had it since then, he is either a fucking genius or he's just one of those lazy pricks who never gets around to playing the goddamn game.
Because I found out there's a couple of Lego sets as well. That like, if you still have them boxed, never opened, some of them will go for like $2,000. And the main thing that I'm thinking is like, you buy a fucking Lego set and you don't build it. What's wrong with you?
I feel like that's one of those weird cases where the price should just drop.
It would no, but if it's still in the box, never opened, then it will never drop.
So wait, you're telling me if I bought another PlayStation 5 and just never opened up the box, it could be worth?
That depends, because that would be different. Because I think now they're manufacturing them. If you had done that a while ago, like November-ish, if you had done that, like pre-ordered it, you receive it, and then you can literally sell it for £2,000. I feel like this is just encouraging hoarding, to an extent.
It is
I mean, I
like
am a
literally.
hoarder,
I need to think of something that I can buy
or
that's
maybe
cheap,
his
cheap
console
now.
broke. His
That would be
family lost
worth.
all their money and had to sell their home and prized possessions. The game was all he was able to hold on to. So what? It's still not fucking worth 1.5 million.
Like the funny thing is, all you would need to do is just go up onto that podium thing, open up the box, and the price just plummets realistically.
Yeah, he worked every day
Just
just to
like
make
that.
ends meet. No, no, all these years later, he's finally stable. And he has no use for it, so he sells it, and boom. Yes, but don't think of it as like the seller's perspective, because he's done nothing wrong. He's played the game perfectly well. Think of it as a buyer's perspective. Literally, like they go like, I have $1.5 million. What do I want to do with this? Do I want to buy a fucking house? Or a new sports car? No, I know. I'll buy a fucking cartridge for a game console that I don't own. I mean, I'm guessing how many people these days actually still have their N64? Let's be
I mean,
real.
even then, even if he did buy the game and had an N64, would he even play it?
No,
Exactly.
because he knows better now. If you have 1.5, you have more than one house. Depends how nice the house is, but you're right. Fuck it.
It does depend
He could
on
buy
how
two
nice the house.
houses. He could buy several houses or
I mean, that's
one
the thing.
game cartridge.
Do you want one crappy house? Do you want several crappy houses worth like 25 grand each? Or do you want one really nice house worth about 1 to 1.5 million pounds? Or well, dollars in this case.
Like a nice family home on Long Island. You know, that's got to be 1.5 surely, or even better. You
But
know, in
I'm not.
in the city right here. You know, what would it be like 1.2 million pounds? You can buy a
Yeah,
very nice penthouse for that.
you could actually buy a really nice flat for that. Really nice flat for that.
And but no, I'm gonna completely omit the fact that these days it's perfectly normal to use a fucking emulator and just buy a fucking cartridge. No, you really can't anymore.
What a weird turn this is all taking.
It really
Anyway,
has.
trying to think of anything else before we move on to the spoiler talk for Loki, because I'm sure there's other stuff that we can think to talk about.
I'm sure. I mean, there's been so many. Oh, do you know what? Here's something that you want to talk about that I remembered. Um, there's been some new some new stuff for the boys season 3.
Yes, that's right. Thank you for reminding me. So, if
Mm-hmm.
anyone doesn't know, The Boys season 3 is coming out, and The Boys, for anyone who doesn't know, is an Amazon Prime show about a group of superheroes that are kind of like the Justice League, but they're all essentially assholes being paid by a Fortune 500 company to be heroes, and they're all not heroes, basically. Best way of putting it. So
You don't
Justice
have to
League,
dip yet because we're not talking about Loki just yet.
yeah, and we're not talking spoilers for The Boys yet either.
Nice clip earlier. You're welcome, dude. I enjoyed that.
Yeah,
Um, just
sure.
saying the dude
Uh,
had money, so he spends on nothing like it's nothing. Probably.
uh,
Anyway, yes.
but essentially, they're doing a bunch of marketing, and the reason we just want to talk about this is I find the marketing to be purely ingenious and probably the best marketing of 2021 for anything.
I have something to
Because
contest that, but that's personal taste.
I
We'll
know,
get to
yes,
that. You know
I
what
know,
I'm gonna
yes,
say, but we'll get to that.
it's not on the same level.
What, the picture of Vin Diesel and John Cena sitting there? Like, this is an interview of Vin Diesel.
That's not what I thought you were going to go with, and I'm assuming you're
I
just
know,
trying in a different
I
direction.
know. You know
Big.
exactly what it is. But we'll talk about that later. We're talking
We'll
about the
talk about
boys
it
now.
later. Um, but yeah, because they did a music video from one of the characters who actually sang a song in one of the seasons, and now they've done a full budget music video for it. And the annoying part is, not only is it the song actually really good, the music video in itself is actually quite decent. And they've done this brilliant idea where they had basically, those news clips that you can find on YouTube where they talk about certain things, but it's quite tabloid news. Basically,
Yeah.
they've done that, and it's worked out really well. And the reason why I find it so genius is it's quite immersive. It actually makes you think this gritty world filled with shitty superheroes is actually part of the real world, which is very frightening because I don't want the people in that show to be real.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's honestly fantastic. Yeah,
I just
so
can't
good.
wait.
Honestly can't wait for it. Yeah, that's all I have to say about it. I honestly can't wait for it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I guess then you
Unfortunately.
want to talk slightly about the
Yeah.
other one.
The marketing campaign for Free Guy. Because let's be honest, at this point, like it's not even the films, just the films, but like even for ad campaigns, anything Ryan Reynolds does is just over the top and completely redundant. But always
Yeah,
very welcome. Like the other day when he did a commercial for Mint Mobile and got the epic trailer voice guy from the Honest trailers
yeah,
to like do stuff for him. But he went a step further for another campaign for Free Guy, where he made a React video dressed as Deadpool, and he had Taika Waititi as Korg join him as well. So it was just Deadpool and Korg watching a trailer together. And you know what I love the most about it is that it's completely organic. Like it feels like they could be like it almost feels like the relationship that Deadpool has with Colossus, but somehow slightly more wholesome. I don't know how.
I didn't get that personally, but I think it's because I have a slightly now different opinion about Ryan Reynolds in particular, which I'll go
Okay.
into in a bit. But I thought it was funny, but weirdly, for some reason, whenever Korg started talking, for some reason, it didn't feel like it matched up. It just felt odd to me for some reason. I just sort of watched it and went, "This feels weird."
Unreal.
You're saying that in this way, unreal, like it's epic. For me, it was like this just feels like they're doing it because
Controversial take inbound.
like I thought it was entertaining, but for some reason it just didn't hit quite right with me. I didn't find it as
Okay.
funny as I had hoped it as I hoped I would. Mainly because I thought if you're going to go over the top, I thought they didn't go as over the top as I kind of wanted them to, for some reason.
I mean,
I
they
don't know.
could have done more.
They could have done, but yeah. But controversial take because I this will actually kind of help not having to talk about Loki, so our viewer drop doesn't drop down to zero because I bet both of our viewers are going to leave, so they don't get spoilers.
Hmm.
Sadly, this is the sad part when people don't keep up with the shows. But anyway, um, I find Ryan Reynolds overrated.
That's fair.
I generally don't like as many of his films. I actually, the more and more I think about the Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, the more and more I think about it, the more and more I realize I actually didn't like it that much.
Really.
Yeah, I thought it was basically because I actually like the first one quite a bit because I look at it and go, the first one is a nice balance between overdone but not nonsensical, whereas the second one felt like nonsensical nonsense, where they were like, "Oh, we don't need a script, we don't need anything. It will just be funny because because Ryan Reynolds is in it, and so is Samuel Jackson, and we have an over the top actress. That's all that matters." Whereas for the first one, it kind of felt like they put some effort into their gags, whereas like for this one, I was like, "We'll just throw him into the scene and it will work." That's how it felt for me, at least.
Yeah, I felt like the jokes weren't necessarily written as such. I mean, there was a story and it did work. Oh wait, not all of us as rich as you for that Disney Plus. It's £8 a month, so come on. Ross says same. I agree, man. I don't like his film. I don't rate his films that much either. Have you guys watched Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place? Yes, I used to. It was
I have
on.
no idea
It
what.
was one of the
No.
few TV shows that actually did come on Dutch Comedy Central. I liked it. It was funny. It was with Ryan Reynolds, but also with Nathan Fillion,
Oh,
uh,
okay.
where he played a firefighter. Nathan
Okay.
Fillion as a firefighter just kind of works. He has improved since then. Yeah, that's true. Because he played a very different character than he does now. Because then it's like Two Guys and a Girl is basically the same as he was in like The Proposal, that kind of thing, where he's like more kind of like snarky and kind of half sarcastic. And
Yeah.
then at some point around when he did Deadpool, like all of his characters afterwards just kind of became the same person. which I'm
Yeah,
not really opposed to because I like that kind of character, but and I feel like he pulls it off. But I can
I
understand why it would be a bit much at some point to just see the
I
same.
think that's the thing. That's what it's become for me because I'm not
Yeah,
looking forward to any of his next films anymore because I really just don't care. It's like, oh, it's Ryan Reynolds in another film, just being Ryan Reynolds.
yeah. I don't agree, but I can see your point.
'Cause here's the thing. I've realized I have that issue a lot with a lot of actors because I don't like a lot of Vin Diesel's films because it basically just feels like it's Vin Diesel being Vin Diesel. But then I
Yeah,
do realize and give him slack because he's also fucking Groot,
yeah,
which
dude.
actually fucking keeps blowing my mind.
I think the problem
The
with
only
Vin
thing,
Diesel is it's not necessarily that he always plays himself and that he's entirely to blame for that. It's just that he's always cast in relatively similar, except for Groot,
yeah,
obviously. He's always cast in very similar roles. So he's always
yeah,
like the tough guy who comes into a situation that for some reason involves a family and then he fixes shit by doing outrageous stunts and killing people.
because weirdly, actually thinking about it, sort of taking two actors and comparing them, because actually, yeah, and there was the Iron Giant. So yeah,
That's
there you
true.
go.
That's true.
That's
The
very true.
man's got range, but only as
There
a
you go.
vocal actor.
There you go. Vin Diesel doesn't count. There are two films, well, three films of his that I actually thoroughly enjoy and like,
Yes.
which is Guardians of
Also,
the
never
Galaxy and
forget
Iron
the
Giant.
pacifier.
Uh oh yeah, he wasn't the pacifier. Okay,
Yeah.
there are three films. There are the four films, because I actually really like the pacifier. Um, but weirdly, thinking about it, The Rock basically just plays The Rock. But weirdly, I don't find that as exhausting because I don't know why.
I think it's because you know what you're getting as well.
I think it's that as well. I think also because Ryan Reynolds is naturally charismatic,
Yeah.
but The Rock is naturally charming. Like he's actually a charming guy. Whereas don't get me wrong, I'm sure Ryan Reynolds is a charming person, but at the same time, he's also quite. I don't know how to describe it. The Rock is
Yeah.
just a yeah.
I think The Rock is basically, in many ways, basically like Arnold Schwarzenegger, except he pronounces words properly.
That's actually a fair point. I think that's probably what
Because
it
when you
is.
watch
It's
a
a
film
big
with Arnold Schwarzenegger in it, it doesn't matter like what kind of film it is. You know exactly what you're getting.
yeah. It's fair because you also I don't know what it is because I think also it's the fact that weirdly, I don't know, maybe it's like a weird arrogance thing because with Ryan Reynolds, you look at all the films he's in, they're films that you know for a fact Ryan Reynolds will probably find amusing and funny. But at the same time, you look at, let's say, The Rock and Arnold Schwarzenegger in particular. The Rock was in Tooth Fairy,
Yeah.
which I still fucking love because The Rock's in Tooth Fairy.
Yeah.
But then there's also Arnold Schwarzenegger who was in Jingle All the Way, I think,
Yes.
and Kindergarten Cop,
Yep.
which they're two childish kid films you just don't expect either of them to be in, but
Exactly.
you just love because they're both in them. Whereas Ryan Reynolds has never done a film, I think, quite like that, which I think I don't know, it can show a more kid friendly side to him, which I don't think he's shown in
I
a
mean,
long time.
he was Detective Pikachu.
That's true. Actually, that's true. Actually, that's very true. I did
That's
like Pikachu.
But then again, like I'll be honest. Yeah, I actually watched it again when I was with my parents, and we fucking loved it. Um, the I will say Detective Pikachu, um, again is like you see Pikachu, but you hear Deadpool,
Yeah,
and again
that's the
again I
only
personally don't have a problem with it, because
mm,
again like I just see Ryan Reynolds as one of those characters where it's like every new film that you watch with him in it is just a look into his slowly but surely dementing mind where nothing is real and everything is fucking over the top and crazy and shit.
he's gonna be one of those actors that really does go crazy at the end of his career, isn't he?
Yeah, pretty much. Um,
Mm,
I
mm,
just
so,
think of him as like I first of all when I watch a film with him I know what I'm getting, which is just crazy man do funny things, say quippy words, funny, and then most of the plot might not really make sense just because he seems to have a very production level role with most of the films that he actually plays in.
yeah. Actually, I think weirdly that may be part of the reason why I'm tired because Ryan Reynolds feels like he also writes the script for himself. Whereas a
We're
lot of
talking
the other
about Nick
actors,
Cage now? No, we're not, but we could. To be
you
fair,
can't.
Nick Cage, I will say no. I'm willing to say I like Ryan Reynolds a lot, but I'm willing to admit that Nick Cage is more versatile as an actor than Ryan Reynolds is.
Really, actually, I'll agree with you on that. I think you're right because he can play crazy, unhinged Nick Cage. He can play wholesome comedy guy Nick Cage.
You can play
He can play
Superman.
he can play Superman Nick Cage. He can play Ghost Rider Nick Cage.
Nick Cage doesn't have as many quips as Ryan Reynolds, has to be said.
No, he's not a quip lying guy, whereas Ryan Reynolds is a quip lying guy.
Yeah, it's just again like with Ryan Reynolds,
Everyone
it's
likes
yeah,
Nick Cage. Ross. I'm kidding. No, that's not true at all. No, not everyone likes Nick Cage.
not well. I think most people don't because they just know him as the cat meme, but uh,
Yeah.
he is unhinged. But no, I like Nicolas Cage. I think he does a good
Yeah.
job.
I like Nicolas Cage because he is unhinged.
Have you ever seen Next? That's a hell of a ride.
God, everything he's in turns to crap, which is just incredible.
Yes, but he himself,
Actually, except for National Treasure, I do
National
like
Treasure
National.
is actually genuinely good.
Yeah, National Treasure is actually.
There was another film that he was in that was genuinely good. Oh, Spider-Man, of course. I forget he's in that. The Into the Spider-Verse. I forget he's in that.
Yeah, that's true. But it feels like basically if Nick Cage played Spider-Man, which, to be fair, it works
It
very
really
well.
works, yeah. That was fucking great. I think, and I actually do believe that he deserves a spin-off.
Yeah,
I think he deserves his own film.
let's be careful. Not run too far. But
Well,
I said let's be careful and not go too far because I don't
is
think.
is is Sony listening?
No, no, not at all. No.
Okay. Why is my PS4 turning on?
Ideas.
What's
Let's
what's
listen
going
in.
on?
Um,
Yeah, me too.
I would watch a Spider-Man noir short, not a full-length feature. I feel like it pretty. I I don't know. Just going back to Ryan Reynolds. I just don't. I'm Ryan Reynolds out. I need a break from Ryan Reynolds. I think that's all it is.
That's
Maybe.
okay. Unfortunately, he has like one film per year at least, so you
Yeah,
can't really avoid him.
I can't escape him. No, that's the issue. Everywhere I look, Ryan Reynolds is there.
Actually, I'm almost willing to say he might have even two films per year at this point, just because he does. No, that's not even true because this year was Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, and now there's going to be Free Guy, and
Yeah,
then at the end of the film there's going to be, I think it's called Red Notice or something like that. It's going to be a Netflix film with him, Gal Gadot, and The Rock.
that's right. Is that this year?
That's the end of this year. Yeah. It's going to be
Oh, they
December.
need to start releasing trailers for that. I will watch that for The Rock and Gal Gadot.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's the thing. I am officially Ryan Reynolds out. Don't get me wrong. I will watch Free Guy, but that's because I like the idea and the concept. I think is actually quite amusing,
Yeah.
and it actually looks like a nice romantic comedy, which I'm kind of wanting him to go back to because I really like the proposal. Weirdly, so I
No,
think
but that's fair because it is one of the best rom-coms out there.
yeah.
No, do you know what? Fuck
So
it. I'll make the statement. It is the best one out there.
ooh,
I don't think there is one better than that. Or I'm just not thinking of the one that is actually better, but I don't think there is one.
that, that's not why, Tammy. Uh,
That's
uh,
that's a weird bias to have. I like this film because the main character is my film. Meanwhile, I don't like. I mean, I like Harry Potter, but it's okay. It's not great. You know.
but you're Ronald Weasley.
No, stop.
The weird thing is, you're also a bit of a ginger, so
I could be Ronald Weasley,
you could be Ronald Weasley.
but
My
I
God,
would play
wait,
him as like not a fucking punk. You know what I mean?
you do realize you are still Jewish, right? So
Yeah.
I think he's only sticking to the stereotype. Oh my God, Ronald Weasley kind of acts like a Jewish person. Wow, that's not a good reflect in the mirror, is it?
No, I just got like Hermione. I want to marry you, but you're gonna have to convert. I cannot raise atheist children or mixed race children. which, by the way, doesn't quite work that way, but okay.
Uh, uh, what a weird tangent we got ourselves
Also,
into.
you're about to be a helpful robot, so it will be fine. Oh, is this the?
Oh yeah, the Ron
Oh
film.
yeah,
Whatever it is.
Ron does wrong or something. You don't like mixed race because look, I say that, but at the same time, I did just say like convert because then you have to convert because I don't want a mixed race baby. But it's like by converting to Judaism, you don't just become racially Jewish.
No, you don't at
So
all. You
so
just
so that
become
statement made
religiously
no fucking
Jewish.
sense.
Yeah, it really doesn't.
Late, but I just watched Loki final. My brain's still processing. We're gonna talk about that in a bit.
Yeah, in a bit.
Welcome
Very soon.
to the
Very soon.
podcast.
Welcome.
You've come in at a very prime moment.
But fair I should probably just about to start talking about it because I'm
You
running out of
sound like my
things.
aunt. Should probably leave then. Yeah,
Yeah, I think we're
we're about
gonna
to
be moving
talk
on
about
to
it.
Loki now. Yeah. But I will get another cool, refreshing drink before we do.
So
'Cause,
you have a little bit more time to spend with this guy before we go over to Loki talks. Uh, I don't really have much else to say, to be honest with you. Yeah, you go get a drink and I'll Ross, they don't like you. This is how they tell you. Uh, that's not what this is. You know, we like you guys. We do. It's just you know, we got things that we want to talk about it. You know, we got things and we want to talk about them. You know, also, I'll be honest, we're not really used to an audience. You know, this is usually we just kind of talk about things and it's fine because you know Tammy's kind of there and then she kind of dips out because she realizes that we're talking about spoiler stuff. So you know, we
what
don't
stuff
really.
she just finds too deep in, and she's not here for that, which we try not to do, but it ends up happening anyway because the
Yeah,
world is a place.
yeah, things like not liking mixed race people. Again, that statement made no sense, and I feel like it can't be held against me because it is so
Anyway,
stupid.
anyway, moving on. Ross and Tammy, this is your official last warning. We are now officially going to be moving on to Loki and the complete mindfuck that the series is. Um, Spoiler: it is a mindfuck, but yeah,
Actually, the entire show is so.
yeah, it is quite a bit of a mindfuck. Yeah. See you guys later. See hopefully Ross tomorrow and Loki later this evening. Not Loki, Tammy.
What do you know that I don't?
I don't know.
I'll be back in a bit. That's cool, man.
All
I'll
right.
walk in on the spoilers. See you guys.
Peace. All right. So Ellie's here, and he has seen the series. Good on you, Ellie. You get a gold star. The other two people haven't. Let's talk Loki.
Okay, first of all, to the other two, if you're still here, by the way, I found out recently that on Disney Plus you can just add profiles. I don't know how many you can, but I haven't actually added any extra profiles at all. So if one of you wants one, I'm offering. Cause I'm happy for you to have like a profile on my account just so you can watch the show. That's
I'm
how
not.
much I like it.
But I'm
Hmm?
a stuck-up prick. I'm not, but I'm a stuck-up prick.
No, that's right. I mean, I offered to my parents and they just didn't want it. So you know.
Fair enough.
So
But
but
yeah,
I'm assuming they're gone because the current viewers has dropped to 3. So
still fine. But I'm gonna go off what
I've
yours
got more
says.
updated um
Yeah.
stats.
All right. So
So how do you want to start this?
I honestly have no idea.
Okay,
Let's talk. Let's talk episode by episode. So let's go
okay.
with the first episode.
Okay. We briefly talked about this a couple of weeks ago, which was the last show, the last show that we did before our 2-week break.
Yeah.
Um, at the time, episode 1, which I probably need to rewatch at some point.
Yeah.
I was very skeptical. I
I
didn't
like.
really know what to think, and I didn't like the TVA at all because I didn't like the concept of it, and I was like, this is multiverse erasure. This is dumb.
Like that's the thing. I liked it because while Mobius set himself up as a good guy, the TVA didn't,
Yeah.
which I thought was quite interesting. And I think the aesthetic of the TVA was quite odd in the sense that I don't know what it is with time traveling in the sense of like, oh, it's a futuristic thing, but for some reason they all have like stuff that looks like it's from like the 80s or 70s
Yeah,
technologically, which I just find really amusing. But it works somehow for some reason. You think they'd have these weird holograms and shit, but none of them really do.
yeah,
Well,
they have really dumb helmets.
and they all look like they're wearing hockey pads.
Yeah, they really do.
And they're all carrying around dildos for whatever reason.
Yeah, dildos that have a light up bit at the end. But don't touch that. No, that's dangerous. We'll do some weird shit to you. But
Yeah,
like,
but
I liked. Basically, I felt like it was the kind of episode where it's like, if you hadn't seen any of the Avengers films ever, then this is a decent setup. But then, for the most part, it was like, I don't know, the one that remains. We're gonna get to that.
we'll get to it. We're going episode by episode. But yeah, because like the thing is, the thing that it kind of felt for me and that I got is it felt like basically catching his character up on a lot of character development from over all the past movies, or at least a few of them up to now,
Yeah,
which I think was quite an interesting way to go about it, and I think it works because then they could just get straight to the story and the other character development stuff that could happen in it.
yeah. Um. Also, there was this other bit. Oh yeah, so basically, one of the problems that I had with that episode, which I don't know if my opinions has changed about this, to be honest with you, after watching the whole thing, is his trial, where basically like they said, oh, you shouldn't have picked that up. You've created an alternative
Yeah,
timeline now. And then he said,
yeah,
okay, but the Avengers like did this via time travel. She was like, yes, but they were supposed to do that, and I still stand by the fact that like, if they were supposed to do everything that they did, then what they did couldn't have happened without Loki picking the stone up.
yeah.
So it's like, how does that work realistically?
Yeah, because then the whole point is the Avengers become time variants themselves because they're carrying on in a universe where they had to change their plans because the time variant did something that he wasn't supposed to do. I,
Yeah,
it may be different because maybe what the original idea was is that the Tesseract lands there and Thor and Tony just put it back in the box and they carry on and that's it. That window's passed.
yeah, but
But even
then
in that still feels weak because it's like, well, they still know where it's going because they live this moment, so they can just literally carry on.
yeah, and also it's because that happened that um Tony and Steve had to readjust their plan and just go like, oh wait a minute, we can just go to the 70s and then, get more fuel for our time travel devices and also get the Tesseract.
Yeah,
And if they hadn't done that, then Tony would have never had that quiet moment with his father, and
yeah,
Steve would never had that moment of like, after all
with
these
Peggy,
years, Peggy is
yeah,
still, is still
waiting
thinking
for him.
about me, yeah, waiting for
Yeah,
me. So I thought that was a bit off, and
yeah.
I still don't know if I think that works. But
I think it, I think it does for me because the whole point is it kind of feels like we're not meant to fully trust the TVA from the start,
yeah,
and it's good because it makes that seem like the case. Like, hey, the TVA is kind of not getting something very important right. So maybe they shouldn't just be trusted.
yeah, but there's an interesting, yeah. It also makes it feel like an individual who has to take care of everything um has missed a small thing, which,
Yeah,
to be fair, or given the last episode and how it went, he may have done that entirely intentionally,
yeah, there's a
where
very good.
the variant of Loki was supposed to be picked up.
Yeah. Um, moving on though to episode two. Um,
Episode 2 was cool.
episode two was cool. Yeah, there's not really much else to say about
Yeah,
it. I
there was
think it
some
did well.
Bonnie Tyler action.
I think it it was good in the sense that it actually showed off how intelligent Loki is and just how out of touch the TVA is with actually dealing with things they're not used to dealing with.
Yeah, and how manipulative he is as well.
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
also showed how brilliant Sylvie is as well, without knowing that her name is Sylvie. You know,
Yeah.
I will say the first moment that it was revealed that it was like a she Loki, I still thought to myself like, everyone said that this was gonna happen, but I still think they maybe shouldn't have done this.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've changed my mind, but at it, it would be bad of me to not admit that that was what I did think at the time.
Yeah. Sexy. Hey. Well, that's just OG Loki, to be
Sexy
fair.
Loki. They're all sexy, really, when you think about it. Except
They're
for
all
the
sexy.
young one. Except for the young one. We don't do
Yeah,
that.
except for him. The alligator, though,
Who, you know, the
which
alligator
I mean,
one. There's plenty to say about as well.
yeah. But moving on from that to what episode three
Yeah, we
now,
can go to episode 3.
because
Episode
there's
3
not
was
really.
cool.
Yeah, because a lot of these episodes weren't fillers, but they just kind of carried on.
Well, they were
Developed.
meant to like get from a certain point to another point, and
Yeah.
all along the way have characters like interact with each other. So the first one
Yeah.
is Loki kind of like coming to terms with himself. The second one
Yeah.
is him interacting with Mobius and the TVA, and then the
Yeah.
third one is him interacting with Sylvie.
I think because that was probably going to be the make or break episode for Sylvie's character, because it was either going to be just a female version of Loki, or she is in fact her own character,
Yes,
and they nailed the fact that she's not just female Loki; she is Sylvie. She
yes,
is her own individual character. She is the enchantress. Which, to
yes.
be fair, pointed out, they didn't do it very subtly, did they?
No, not at all. Because she's
But
constantly like, I know how to
I
enchant
enchant
people.
things, so you can enchant things. Yes, I enchant.
Yeah.
It's
Can
kind
you
of
do
like
anything else? No.
I. It kind of reminds me because there was a point in season 2 of Supergirl.
Mm,
But to be fair, Supergirl did it in a really shitty, dumb way, where they had a similar moment where basically Supergirl fought Superman, and throughout the whole thing, it's like, oh, Supergirl beat Superman. It makes her more powerful than Superman now because she beat him. And then basically there were points where they not mention it as like Car, where Superman's like, Car, you beat me. I wasn't holding back. You beat me at full power. And then Superman says it again later to another group of people while Kara's still there. And it's like, why do you need to repeat this? Are you just trying to hammer home that Supergirl is just better than Superman?
yeah.
Which she's not.
Also, can
But
I just say, I think it's sickening that more people in the world care about Supergirl than they do Black Lightning. I'm just saying, like, one is clearly better.
one is the superior
I,
hero.
I wish I
Yeah.
was joking. Yeah, I'm not. Like, in every single front.
Anyway,
Yes,
but
Loki.
going back to it, Loki, while they did it, at least they weren't doing, oh, I'm Sylvie and I'm better than male Loki. It wasn't like them trying to do that. It was them just going, look, I'm the Enchantress. I'm the Enchantress. I'm not actually Loki, which
Not even
I
that.
think,
Not even that.
which
It was more the thing of like, she is Loki, but throughout her entire life, like being, uh, like captured by the TVA or running away from them, she's been basically led to believe that she isn't prime Loki, so to speak. So basically, what she probably got from that is she isn't Loki. She's not meant to exist, and therefore she's an abomination.
yeah,
And so anyone
which
on her path ever has tried to prune her, um, or stop her in her plans, which Loki sort of did in a way. Um,
yeah,
and so she really has no reason to ever trust anyone at all.
yeah. Um, what episode 4? I can't even remember what happened in episode 4.
So episode
He
three,
gets
real quick
captured
as
by the
well.
TVA. Oh, sorry,
Episode
yeah.
3, to kind of bring the point as well, ended with the whole like train thing fucking messing up because Loki was too much of a clown, and so they were trying to escape from Lamentis as it was like crumbling down, and they were fucking running through the city to get to the spaceport, and they were too late. That's where episode 4 picks up
Yeah,
when they're about to kiss, and then this fucking branch just fucking happens.
yeah.
Which,
Which,
how?
yeah, that part felt kind of weak. It's like, oh, two Lokis falling in love with each other. That's a branch important enough to get there. You know what it is? Retroactively thinking about it, that was probably the Watchmaface, the one that remains, kind of forcing
Yeah,
that branch to happen to let them know that they were there. That's probably
yeah.
what it was, retroactively.
Because that's how they eventually got to the bitter truth towards the end of that episode. that
Yeah,
the timekeepers that have been hyped up as like the ultimate beings in the universe
aren't
aren't
even.
real.
Which, to be fair, I think quite a few of us were kind of guessing that it was the
We were
case.
kind of guessing. I
The
think
starts like,
most people guess it because usually like there's character posters just before an episode goes on air. So like for the
yeah,
first one it was Loki, for the second one it was Mobius, or I think, or the third one is Sylvie, and then for the fourth one it was Timekeepers, and a lot of people pointed out that like we hadn't actually seen the Timekeepers yet, so it's weird to do that.
yeah, yeah. But
And so yeah, that was a big shock, and then also
it,
Mobius got pruned because everyone started learning the fact that they are variants.
which was
Mind blowing, to be honest with you.
yeah, was it time variant authority is what it is.
Yes,
I feel like there was a hint in the title there, like the time variance being the authority.
that could be.
I have no idea, but
And so basically,
I weird note. I find it weird that every single variant in charge of all of it is human.
yeah, that was interesting because it's like we
Like
know
every
that there's
single
other planets and shit, and
yeah, and like Loki isn't human. He's an Asgardian, and he's been arrested. But all these other fucking people, not a single one of them. It's just it's weird to me.
like
I don't
the
know.
only way that could make sense is by them essentially saying that aliens don't have enough impact on what happens on Earth, which is bullshit because historically that's never been the
But
case.
I mean, even then, they're not actually the time variance authority just for Earth. They would be for the whole universe.
They should be, yeah,
Yeah, because it's like, oh, we stopped a branch on Earth. Yeah, but there's like 50 billion more branching out across the entire universe. What are you
and
going to do
counting.
about that? And counting. And yeah, I guess I don't know.
I didn't
Maybe
think about that, to be honest with you. That's fucking weird. Now I
I
think
think
about
maybe
it.
because the guy who created the TVA was a human, and it was just easier for him. Maybe.
I think it's because throughout his life, there was never a point where that became a problem
Yeah.
because the protection of Earth is pretty much down to the to Earth's protectors, be it the
Yeah.
Avengers or the X-Men or whoever it may be.
Yeah.
Um, and so so in the fourth episode that was the big old twist that the timekeepers aren't real, and they're like, oh well, who was it? Too late, you're fucking dead. And then it comes to that post
And they
credit scene. It's
proved
like,
Loki.
hey, guess what? You're not dead.
The only issue I had with them pruning Loki at the end, I was like, well, he's not dead. That was the
Yeah,
first thing I said to myself. It's like he's not dead
yeah.
because he's Loki. And if like it was just too obvious to me. And then obviously the end credit was like, oh, he's not dead. And here's cue to episode 5. All the other Lokis.
Wasn't there an alien like when Loki was arrested in episode one? I don't remember. There may have
No,
been.
maybe, but I don't remember there was.
I don't remember.
Oh no, yeah, no, there was one. There was a Kree, not a Kree, a scroll that was being arrested in episode.
Oh yeah,
But to be fair,
yeah.
once again, that's a scroll being arrested, not a scroll working. It's fair. There could be scrolls in the TVA, we just don't know about it.
That's true. That's very true. There could be Kree in the TVA as well, because they look exactly like humans,
That's true.
as do a lot of fucking alien races.
Yeah, because we're not a very imaginative bunch of people when it comes to what aliens look like.
No, no, no,
But
particularly.
then we weirdly are because we come up with xenomorphs for some reason. But anyway, that's beside the point.
Yeah, yeah.
But
That's pretty much your episode four. I think there's
yeah,
not much else left to say. Ravonna did shit, but like obviously, as to like, I think this is where the thing started. Where like this episode was significant, I would say, because at the point where like the timekeepers were revealed to be fake, that's when people were like, okay, so who's actually behind this?
yeah,
And so there were many
yeah,
theories kind of going around.
yeah,
There was one at the time, which I believed and stuck with pretty much until the end, and wasn't completely wrong. That was it's Kang the Conqueror, and the defense of that is based on the fact that Ravonna Renslayer in the comics was his wife, and also he does time travel shit. So
yeah,
that is like all the evidence we have, but there's not much else. I think
yeah.
there was also the theory of it's another Loki, which
Which
albeit
is what I believed in because I just thought the
yeah,
poetic justice of it turning out to be a Loki at the very end would have been really good. But I think in the end it while I'll admit disappointed that it wasn't on the Loki, I was happy with the direction they went with
Yeah, because
because
it makes sense.
it queues up for more stuff later
Yeah.
on.
I think I also jokingly said, "Oh, it's gonna be Miss Minutes."
Just yeah,
She was
which
involved though. I will take
she was
credit for that. She
involved.
was involved.
Yeah, she was involved. The moment when the doors open and Miss Minutes pop up, the first thing I thought was "fuck off." That was
Yeah, the same here.
fuck off.
I was like, "Holy shit, what?"
I was about to message you, in fact, Ron, just saying "fuck you, you son of a bitch." Why is it true?
Because
But anyway,
I kind of wanted it to be true for like a split second, then I thought to myself like, no, this is stupid. There's something else going on. And it
yeah,
was like he who remains, and it was like, okay, so it's something else going on then.
yeah. Uh, I will say this quickly before we get into the full crux of
Five.
episode 6. Yeah, we'll get to episode 5. A
Loki
few
did get an
things.
interesting offer. We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that. What did you think of all the Easter eggs, like Frog Thor and the jar?
You know what I especially love about Frog Thor?
It was voiced by Chris
It was voiced by
Hemsworth,
Chris Hemsworth, and
which is
it's
just
so beautiful because I
incredible.
barely noticed it.
Yeah, because I actually went back and rewound it because I could barely tell. I thought, oh, it's just like a mini Loki. Because I actually thought it was just a mini Loki,
Yeah,
and then I was like, oh wait,
it's
is it? And
Frog.
I saw a JPEG. And I was like, oh no, it is a fucking frog. The reason I thought it was Loki because he was green, and Loki and green.
Yeah, of course.
But also, and I'll
Thanos
admit, actually,
copter.
this is the Thanos copter was my favorite because the moment I saw that, I was just hysterically in laughter, just going, yes,
Yeah.
thank you. Because I just like to imagine the only reason why that's there is because the Time Variant Authority thought, what, there's a Thanos dumb enough to attack the Avengers with a helicopter and not his big ass warship.
We're
For whatever.
confiscating this big guy.
We're confiscating this because it's dumb, and you should feel dumb for having it. Oh, but I like my copper. No.
Is that what Thanos sounds like in that universe?
Yes, because he has a helicopter and not a big ass warship.
Oi, give me back my copper.
Give me that my hemicopter.
uh,
Hemicopter? Yeah, hemicopter. You mean helicopter? Yeah, hemicopter.
Here's one significant Easter egg that dropped though, literally from the sky there. There was a Kang Towers that dropped.
Oh yeah.
Okay, now there's two reasons why this is significant. One, because again, the Kang theory,
Yeah.
being that the Kang, what was it, Kang Industries or like the Kang Enterprises, something like that, in the comics belonged to a Mr. Griffin, which was just an alternative version of Kang the Conqueror.
Yeah.
The second thing, because it looked like the Avengers Tower, and
Yeah.
I didn't think about this until someone pointed it out. Remember at some point, I don't know if this was Spider-Man Homecoming or if this was Far From Home, that Happy or Tony or someone said that they're selling the Avengers Tower.
Yeah, no, I think that is in because no, that's in Homecoming because they're moving out.
Yes. So guess who bought it then? That's where it connects now. It's connecting into the rest of the universe.
Yeah, that's clever. That is clever. Damn, I hadn't noticed that.
Man, this is the beautiful thing about the show is just it keeps fucking Tony said that. There you go. It keeps fucking it doesn't just integrate with future stuff. It integrates with past stuff, and they play around with it in such a clever way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
other than that, episode 5 was fucking great. I
Episode
loved it
5.
so much.
It was. Yeah. And with
They go fucking Richard E. Grant.
like just all of that was just really just too good in the end
Yeah.
with all the different Lokis, and they all just started fucking fighting each other, which was
Yeah,
just
including the presidential Loki. That's great.
they did a really good job of masking the fact that that wasn't actually the Loki that
Oh,
we
they
thought
did,
was.
yeah.
They did a great job with that.
I did wonder at some
Because,
point when he's ever going to show up.
yeah, and just God, the whole way they did that episode was fantastic in the
Yeah.
end.
And I'm so glad that we finally got the so many fucking alligator Loki memes. My favorite one is one where you just see an alligator and Loki's just there saying like an alligator, and then it goes to the next one. It goes, alligator with the Loki helmet on. It's like Loki the alligator, and I thought about it and I was like, oh shit, it's a Phineas and Ferb meme. It's in the
Yeah.
ST. Wait, did we call it
It's-
the STB? The
I
STB
like.
chat.
I do like the fact that people have come up with a short name for that Loki, which is actually incorrect because they're calling him Croaky, as in crocodile Loki. But it's like he's not a crocodile; he's
No,
an
he's
alligator.
alligator Loki.
To be fair, they've really now missed out on opportunities to make a crocodile Loki, so he can just be called Croaky.
Yeah, it could have been easier, but you know,
A Loki doesn't just have the same ring to it as Croaky. But anyway,
true. Also,
but
classic
still,
Loki getting an ass
still,
card was fucking beautiful.
that was beautiful. Can I just quick note? The thing I sent you about the whole "I Need a Hero" song being
Yeah.
played was sent to me by Ellie, and I thought in the
Okay.
end, I do think they did miss out on an opportunity to put it in there, but they already had it once before
Yeah.
in episode 2, so they couldn't realistically have it again.
Yeah, and it would have been very Ragnarok like. But
Yeah,
don't forget, in the second Guardians of the Galaxy film, they had the chain by Fleetwood Mac twice,
that's true.
which I'll be honest was pretty pointless.
Nah, it was. But anyway, so moving on now to
Can I just say
final.
one more thing as well? The Kang theory got strengthened at that point because Eliath is actually very connected to Kang
Yeah,
in the comics
no.
as well.
When I saw because I saw stuff on the internet about the Kang Tower, I was like, oh, okay, it's gonna be Kang the Conqueror. Because at that point, I was like, yeah, no, that feels very. It feels like they're nodding in that direction heavily now. And
Yeah.
then Delilah, yeah. So
Also Mobius is a fucking cool dude.
yeah, I won't lie. At a point, I thought Mobius was going to be the guy.
That
I don't know why. I thought he was going to be the guy in charge
would
of
be
all.
interesting.
Because, and I think I mentioned to you because I just would have liked it at the very end of just Loki coming into the room and Mobius being the guy in charge and just Loki going, "Oh wow," and just that, just just for the gag alone.
Mobius, is he even Loki? Classic Loki, he's green, right? I love that exchange so much, where he's like, yes,
Uh,
but he could be lying, which would make him even more of a Loki.
uh,
Alright, let's get into the meat.
the meat of it, the final episode.
Hmm.
So, few things to discuss. Let's, I guess, start off with the fact it probably is Kang the Conqueror. We don't ever officially get a proper name, but
Yeah,
it probably is.
well, there's one thing that is uh, pretty much half confirming it. I'll explain why. Um, the reason why it does kind of confirm it is it's because it is the very actor that has been cast to play Kang the Conqueror in Ant-Man and Wasp: Quantumania. Is the
There you
same
go.
actor, so that pretty much confirms that. However, it is worth mentioning that in the comics, Nathaniel Richards, right,
Yeah.
who in some articles for some reason was written down to be the father of Reed Richards, which I don't think is correct,
No.
but we'll find out. In any case, he hasn't he's not Kang the Conqueror in every incarnation.
Yeah.
He's also been called, I think, Kid Iron or something like that. He's also been called Immortus. He's had many different monikers throughout the existence, and the simple reason for that is because not every version of him is as evil as the other.
Yeah.
He's an interesting character in that regard. Kang the Conqueror is just the most popular one. So in the same vein, I think the one that remains isn't necessarily Kang the Conqueror.
No,
I
it's
think he's Nathaniel
yeah.
Richards, but I don't think he's Kang the Conqueror. And I think after the fact, when everything
Yeah.
changed and the TVA is suddenly upside down and there's like statues of him, I think that's Kang the Conqueror actually having taken over the TVA.
Yeah. Because I will say quickly one thing that intrigued me was when they're entering into like the castle. There's that point where there's obviously the three statues, but one of them is broken down, which
Yeah,
kind of makes me feel like there was a point where there were four, and for some reason there's now just the one.
Yeah.
and he used the images of the three that don't remain anymore as the front, and he kind of hid behind them.
Yeah.
Which I kind of feel like, therefore, maybe during the Multiversal War, there were the four of them, and the other three died during it, whatever they were, leaving just Nathaniel Richards. We'll say for the moment that's who he is, just because it's simpler.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how this progresses now, because if Kang the Conqueror is in Loki season 2, but he's also in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, how is that going to work?
So the one thing that I do know is that between the films and TV shows going forward, I'll be honest, the more boring films won't have this problem. But the films that I'm actually looking forward to, um, and the TV shows are going to be heavily involved with each other. So
Yeah,
with Loki and WandaVision done, we're gonna have What If now, which
yeah,
is pretty much 100% enabled by whatever happened in Loki.
yeah,
Um, Even though it's still a bit weird because it's slightly contradictive to things that we've learned in Doctor Strange. But
yeah,
actually not really, because Doctor Strange never really talked about alternative timelines. So it still
yeah,
checks, it still checks on that front. But we're gonna have What If, which is pretty much entirely enabled by Loki. After that, we're gonna have Spider-Man: No Way Home, which is also
yeah,
connected to this film and WandaVision to the extent that multiple timelines spreading. So basically, like the whole idea is that what I think it's gonna be is that we have the main like He Who Remains continuity, which is where Tom Holland is the real Spider-Man, but the
yeah,
other films are taking place in an alternative timeline with different Peter Parkers who are different people, and having started at different points of their lives that are part of the new multiverse that has now been created
yeah.
and had previously
Because
existed.
something like, I'm just getting this interesting feeling that, I think we've briefly discussed like what possible things will happen with the next Avengers movie and what Phase 4 Avenger movie will be.
Yeah,
I'm now getting the more distinct feeling that it's going to be, what, Secret War? Was it?
there's going to be a Secret Invasion TV show,
Yeah.
but that's not really got anything to do with that. Secret War will happen at some point.
Which is what, that's the multiversal thing, right? With,
Yeah. I
yeah,
previously said House of M, but to be honest with you, if House of M was literally just meant to include the X-Men and Fantastic Four, by doing this, you don't really have to do that anymore.
and third, because the Fantastic Four aren't technically mutants, they get their powers in an accident, right? Meaning
No,
you
that's a
can just,
mutate. Mutants are born with it. Mutates just kind of get mutated at some point in their life.
yeah. So that's what the Fantastic Four are, right?
Mu-
Mutates or whatever.
Mutates, yeah.
Yeah. So in other words, they don't even have to be born through House of M. They can just literally appear at any point throughout the cinematic series,
True, but
just because.
but the X-Men do.
Yeah, the X Men absolutely do need a House of M story or something like that.
Yeah.
But to be fair, if they do something like a Secret War, which now, with how everything is going with the WandaVision show, um, Loki, the potential for Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness,
Hmm.
No Way Home, it feels like they're nudging in that direction. I feel that there's
Yeah.
going to be, and especially with Fantastic Four coming out, because it's Richard and Sue and Richard's children, right?
Great. It's
Reed Richards.
it's
It's Reed
his
and
great
Sue's.
great great grandson of some sort.
Yeah, so it feels like they may be heading in that path. I think
Yeah.
possibly that's just an
It
theory.
feels like it
Unless,
also feels to myself as
unless,
well. Like, it's the kind of thing where they go, okay, well, we've done this big like crossover event with the Avengers and
yeah,
like the Infinity Saga in general. How can we do something different now that is still like this whole crossover thing that people want, but isn't just repeating ourselves by just having like solo films lead into one big film, which then spreads into solo films that lead into a bigger film and then kind of result in something. So I think
yeah,
that's why they want to have like TV shows to be in the continuity of the cinematic universe, and then have films that kind of relate to each other and those kind of in that way. Because again, like after I think I've briefly touched on this as well, but like after No Way Home, which I think Tobey Maguire is still not quite confirmed for. Um, he is confirmed, as far as I'm aware, in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
With also, well, I haven't actually seen anything really, but as far I think he might be in it. Which is directed by Sam Raimi. There's a very large likelihood that some form of the TVA is going to be in it. Um,
Yeah.
Scarlet Witch is going to be in it. America Chavez is going to be in it, which isn't particularly interesting. There's going to be references to other Sam Raimi films, including Spider-Man, as far as I'm aware. And there's even like a lot of people. Jesus Christ, they've got a dog running around upstairs. Um, they've got yeah. So people are speculating at this point that like Spider-Man 4, which was meant to happen at some point, might still be happening after
Yeah.
all this, which would be fucking interesting. I'd watch it, but only for the fun. I don't think it's gonna be any good. Uh,
No.
After this film as well, there's going to be Thor: Love and Thunder,
Yep.
which, as far as I'm aware, isn't really relating to all of this, but is still like
No, I think it's
it.
gonna be its own thing.
It's gonna have the Guardians of the
Because
Galaxy in it, so
what I can see happening is Doctor Strange is good because in let's say the next Avengers film, the people that will be included in that is the Doctor Strange stuff. So Doctor
Yep,
Strange, Scarlet Witch, the Vision again will probably be part of it, I imagine.
yep,
And if he's in it, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. But if not, No Way Home, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. If he's in it, will be in there. Andrew Garfield
yep.
Spider-Man.
As well as a
Tom
host of other
Holland Spider-Man.
characters.
And here's the funny thing: just imagine this. They spent the first film fighting him, and in the fifth incarnation of the Avengers movies, Loki's leading the Avengers. Just imagine the fucking
That'd be
poeticness.
fucking weird, yeah.
That would be just weird and amazing
It would
because
be a great lineup though,
it would be a great lineup.
because you
Because
got
Captain Marvel wouldn't be in it for starters. Yeah, I don't know how they do it, but they'll find a way to
this. This is the thing as well, and like I'll be honest, like there's this is something I want to mention as well, and this is not really spoiler stuff anymore. But as far as I've seen from like upcoming MCU stuff, there's stuff that they're doing really well and that I'm really like hyped for. Which is these
Yeah.
like big multiversal mindfuck. Oh, and sorry. With the multiversal mindfuck stuff, obviously Ant-Man is going to be in there as well, in the
Oh
mix.
yeah, that's right. Sorry, yeah, Ant-Man. So what?
Yeah, which is weird. Did you know, by the way, they recast the girl?
What, his daughter?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm irrationally upset about this. Like, I don't know why, but like, it's like because
Yeah.
initially when I read that, I was like, oh well, obviously they recast her because it's like she's all grown up now. It's like no, after Endgame they recast her, and it's like, but why?
Scheduling, maybe a better actress popped up. Who knows? Whatever
Who
reason.
knows?
I'm not.
No, there's no fuss about it.
You've even admitted that it's irrationally upset.
Yeah, exactly. The only
So
important thing is like Kang the Conqueror is going to be in there, so Loki's probably going to be in there at some point somehow as well, or Doctor Strange as well because that'd be cool. But there's other stuff that they're doing that I'm not particularly excited for, and I think don't make a whole lot of sense. For example, as you may know, there's going to be a Captain Marvel sequel next year called The
Marvels.
Marvels, which is going to be consist of Captain Marvel, um, the other Captain Marvel, which is Monica Rambeau, and Miss Marvel.
So we've got Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel.
Yes.
Yeah, that's not going to get confusing at all.
The worst of it, I think, is that Miss Marvel is not going to be introduced in that film for the first time. Rather, she's going to have a TV show towards the end of this year or at the start of next year, which is before that film comes out.
Yeah.
And I'm worried about that genuinely because I don't think you're going to be able to sell your show this way.
Yeah.
Also, we need some actual trailers at this point and not just telling us like where she's from.
Yeah, and basically her character traits rather than character flaws or
Well, they
other.
didn't even say character traits. They just said like she's a Pakistani girl living in New Jersey, and it's like, okay,
Those are
there's a lot of Pakistani
those,
people living in New Jersey.
those are just character traits, but they're very basic character traits. That's the point. They're let me put it this way: in terms of like the body of the whole thing, that's literally just the skeleton. That's the most basic thing that every living thing has. There's
Yeah.
no organs or muscle or
I
tissue or
wouldn't even call it a
brain.
skeleton, to be absolutely honest with you. I just call it the
You know,
skin.
you know what? You're you know what? No, I'm gonna go one step further. That's not even the skin. That's the blueprint of the skeleton or of the skin. It's not
Yeah.
even the blueprint of the whole thing. Literally of the most basic thing that you were still yet to make. But anyway,
It's like a
this isn't
drawing of a person that might be, and it's like, great, do they have a brain?
no.
Well, I don't care
But
then.
anyway, because someone sent me something interesting. I think it might have been Ellie actually,
Mm-hmm.
talking about the potential for a Thunderbolts series, which for any of our viewers who do come back at some point maybe to watch this, the Thunderbolts is basically Marvel's version of a Suicide Squad that isn't the Suicide Squad because they're not going to die during their missions because they have bombs implanted in their head. It's a weird thing. But
Mm-hmm.
basically, it's a bunch of bad guys trying to redeem themselves in some way. So, previous members of this have been Baron Zemo,
Okay.
the Winter Soldier,
Nice.
Black Widow, Hawkeye, um, Ross, Red Hulk.
Okay.
So and I'll say this, even though you haven't seen Black Widow, it feels like they're building to a Thunderbolts show or film.
Oh, is this because of our old like family and thing?
That and there are a few characters in that that make me think, and a few plot points that make me go, okay, feels
Yeah.
like they're leading to a Thunderbolts
I'll be honest.
thing.
I'll get around to watching it eventually. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna get Premier access for it
No,
because fucking why would I pay
it's not.
£25 to watch a film that I could watch in the cinema for 10,
It's
if
not worth
that?
19. It's not worth 1995, 1999 at all. It's not worth that price tag,
Yeah.
no. But yeah, it's interesting. I think it's Marvel's in this weird state for the moment for me, where I'm excited for half of it, and the other half I really just don't give a shit about.
Yeah. The other
It's
thing as well
weird.
is like, did you hear about the? I think this is. I think it's a film that they're doing called Armor Wars with Don Cheadle, which is basically just going to be like. So basically, the premise of the film is Iron Man's technology gets leaked, and so Rhodes is going to try to contain it more or less.
Okay.
Unfortunately, before that, they're going to make a TV show that mildly relates to this called Ironheart. Have you ever heard of Ironheart?
Yep.
Ironheart is one of the most bullshit creations ever in
Yep.
comics, and
Yep.
I genuinely think that she shouldn't be written anymore.
Yep.
Because she is. I will be honest. She's actually sexist towards women. That this because basically like there's a very popular panel of her basically like when she was a child, and basically like she's trying to get her teacher to say that she can't be a scientist because she's a girl, and their teacher keeps like saying like, dude, it's the 21st century. No one says this stuff anymore. You can be whatever you want to be. And she's like, no, but you have to be mean to me so that I can like prove you wrong or something. She's like, okay, fine, you'll never be Tony Stark. And she's like, I'm gonna be better than Tony Stark. And it's like, fuck off. And then Tony Stark dies and she inherits the armor for some reason and his AI built into a fucking
She just
thing.
stumbled across it by accident as well. That's
Yeah,
the
pretty
thing.
much. It's like fucking
Which
Batwoman all over again.
I see you have found my stuff. I would like it back. No, but I'm worthy of it because I have it. No, you stole it.
Yeah.
You
It's like,
you didn't earn it. You're not Robin. You're not my successor.
I mean,
You're not.
yeah, it's not like Green Lantern where it's like, I'm dying, but here, this thing that gives me power, it's yours now. It's chosen you. Whereas with most of these, it's just like, I see that you're dying, but you have a bunch of cool stuff, so let me just let you die. So it becomes the rules of finders keepers, and then I'm gonna grab your
Salvage,
stuff, and
salvager
you have
rules.
a good death.
Salvage rules. If
Yeah,
you
the
find it.
salvage. Yeah,
But anyway,
didn't see Black Widows,
salvage
but never
rules.
gonna give €20 for some earlier access. No, it's not worth
No,
it.
no. Just go and see it at cinema. In all honesty, because while it's not a great film, it's at the very least the cinema's worth a day out. You know,
Yeah.
popcorn, movie. But yeah.
When I'm
Anyway,
done with quarantine, I could literally just go see it in Odeon for like £5 in IMAX.
there you go.
So, and I
I'll
don't
be
even know
honest,
if it's worth IMAX
it's not worth IMAX at all.
when
But yeah,
Fast and Furious exists. Look, if you're gonna watch a film that's meant to be loud, watch it loud. You know, IMAX. I'll be honest. I'm a bit of a fan of IMAX because IMAX is so good. It tricked me into thinking that Bohemian Rhapsody is a really good film.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
I actually like Bohemian Rhapsody, but
I thought it was good, but they're like having watched it this second time, I did see a lot of things that were actually a bit bothersome
okay. Well, that could be a video for
for another day.
another day. But wrapping up Marvel talk stuff. Trying to think, if there's anything else?
Yeah. Not usually. I mean, they
Oh,
are doing
looking
really.
just quickly. Sorry, two things. One, I don't know if the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special is going to be an actual film.
No, it looks like it's gonna be like a Disney Plus
I
special.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be like a 20-minute short. I think
I'm still up for it though.
I'm still up for it as well. Another thing, are you looking forward to the next Marvel James Gunn movie that comes out this year? Oh wait, no, it's not Marvel. It's the other one.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
We joke about it, but I am looking forward to it because it
I am
looks
looking.
fucking great.
It looks stupid, and I'm up for it
They
100%.
they have a fantastic cast put together.
I love the simple line of like, "I love peace with all my heart, and I don't care how many men, women, and children I have to kill to get it."
Yeah,
Just it works too well for some reason. It's the fact that John Cena's the one saying it. Any other actor saying it probably would not have pulled it off. But it's the fact that he's saying it and
yeah.
so seriously that pulls
I
it
can
off.
think of a couple of actors who could have potentially pulled it off,
Probably The Rock.
but probably The Rock. Nathan Fillion as well. You know, to be absolutely honest with you, I think he could have pulled it off.
Who's in this film as well anyway.
Exactly. Dude, the cast for this film is ridiculous.
It is honestly ridiculous
And
because there's Margot Robbie,
yeah, Idris
Idris
Elba,
Elba, John Cena,
Jai Courtney.
Jai Courtney, not Oscar Isaac. Sorry, what am I thinking?
No. Oh, Sylvester Stallone,
Sylvester Stallone. That's right.
Peter
Peter
Capaldi,
Capaldi. Um,
fucking Pete Davidson.
yeah,
His brother is in it.
Viola Davis. Right.
Yep.
Yep. It is honestly on
Michael
paper.
Rooker.
Michael Rooker's in this film. Who's the actor who plays Rick Flag again? I really like him.
Joel Kinnaman, I think.
Joel Kinnaman's in it. Yeah, it is
What's his
honestly.
Peter Seraf, the guy with the English guy with the Polish name who had a really good BBC show once. Um, I think he's the guy. I might be wrong. I think he's the guy playing Polka Dot Man.
Yeah, yeah.
Polka Dot Man is fucking in the film. Who thinks it's a good idea to put Polka Dot Man in any film?
James Gunn, and
James Gunn
therefore
is
it is a
fucking
good
pulling it
idea.
off. He's pulling it off as well.
You know what? Because when he started showing off the list of like who the characters were, and I thought none of these guys ever deserved a chance, which is why Suicide Squad's the perfect film for them because they're all just gonna die in the film anyway.
I know that I've fucked up this screen right now, but you know.
What? Because who are the characters? What? There's Polka Dot Man. There's Rodent Girl.
I'm looking up right now.
Peacemaker.
Yes, Peacemaker.
Bloodsport.
So we have Harley Quinn, King Shark. Taika Waititi is in this as well in an undisclosed role as of right now,
Oh, you know who
which
he's
is
gonna be?
hmm.
Star.
Oh, that'd be fucking funny.
He's gonna be. He's gonna be
Oh,
fucking
that would be so
Star.
good. That is actually a
I'm
really good
calling
move.
now. He's Star.
What a fucking baller move if he is. Um,
Oh, could you imagine if he starts off as go, "Hi everybody, my name's Starro."
my name's Doro.
It's just
That
Korg
ain't
with a
me.
star.
Yeah. So we've got Rick Flag, Bloodsport, Savant, Soul Soria, Peacemaker, TDK, Captain Boomerang, Polka Dot Man. Let me move this here. Oops. Polka Dot Man, Blackguard, Amanda Waller, Adrian Chase, in parentheses Vigilante, Camilla, Weasel, Emilia Harcourt, Mongol, Thinker, Javelin. Wait, who's Mongol? Oops, it's going weird again.
The orange woman, whatever.
Yeah, but who's playing? Oh, she's someone, I'm sure. Thinker, Javelin, Ratcatcher 2 because she's not the original Ratcatcher.
like
Tyler, King Shark again, because that's the stand-in.
yeah,
General. Okay, the rest is just people, I think.
yeah.
Yeah,
The
the rest
rest are
is just
just
people. But yes, the cast is ridiculous.
random. No, I rewatched Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer recently.
Oh yeah,
I had completely forgot that I think what Lawrence Fishburne did the voice.
yeah.
I just find that so funny.
It is really funny. It's like at some point you gotta ask yourself, like, what are these actors doing? So, like, how little are they doing at any given point that they'll just pretty much accept anything? Having said that, while it's a shit film, Rise of the Silver Surfer is very entertaining.
It is. It is very entertaining.
And I would even go as far as to argue that its predecessor isn't even that bad of a film.
Oh no, the first Fantastic Four actually isn't that bad. I mean, also you have to put perspective to the 2015 or whatever it was Fantastic Four, which was
I'll be honest, it wasn't
we.
that bad. It was just not interesting.
It wasn't that bad. It just wasn't that interesting, and it wasn't Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Also, the third act was a fucking ball ache to watch
Yeah,
because it just wasn't good. But the first and second act, like, I didn't have a problem with it. It was just a bit
yeah,
boring.
yeah, yeah. I can agree with that. But anyway, I think moving on from there, gonna have to wrap it up now, boys and
Yes,
girl. Don't know who the girl is, but I've decided there is one anyway.
we
Um,
need a diverse audience. That's really
yeah.
what this is.
But Loki, probably the best Marvel show there is currently up to this point.
Yeah, I would
Um,
argue so. Best MECU show, if anything.
yeah. While I'm sure I will enjoy What If, I don't think I'll be able to rate it in the same sort of way because I don't think it's going to be the same sort of thing where it's going to have a coherent plot. I feel like each episode is going to be its own special self-contained thing.
It's going to be an anthology show, and currently, like, there's no real information to get about most episodes because it's kind of up in the air for some reason, and like documentation on it is messy despite the fact that it's coming out in a month.
Yeah.
The only episodes that I know are confirmed are as follows. What if Agent Carter took the serum instead of Steve?
Steve.
Right. What if T'Challa was Star Lord?
Yep.
Um, one plot line that explores Gamora killing Avengers. One plot line that has zombies, which looks quite cool. One where for some reason Spider-Man is the Sorcerer Supreme, which I'm very much looking forward to. One where Killmonger saves Iron Man.
Yeah. Which is,
Not sure.
I think it does make sense weirdly because I think there could be a case that he could have argued that he could have been part of a military convoy because
Yeah,
he was in fact part of the U.S. Army.
he was. Yeah.
So there
Um.
is an argument to say that that could have happened. But anyway.
Also,
Um,
another one. Iron Man on Sakaar. You know, the planet from Thor Ragnarok.
oh, so it's him there.
Because basically,
In oh,
so the whole plot line is essentially, you know, at the end of Infinity War, he gets flung into space in the Benatar with Nebula. Captain Marvel picked him up and brought him back to Earth. What if she didn't? And then he would have floated off to Sakaar.
oh, that's interesting.
That
That's
one is confirmed via a Lego set. See, this is the funny thing is that for some reason, Marvel didn't think this through, or Lego didn't think this through, or Disney didn't. But for some reason, they've already announced like Lego sets based on the What If series, and some of them basically just kind of give the plot
oh,
away.
yeah. God damn it, Lego slash Disney slash Marvel,
Yeah,
whoever it was.
so they've already like announced that there's going to be a Lego set, based on, so it's going to be like the Hulkbuster armor, from like scrap on Sakaar, and it has like a Lego Tony Stark minifigure in there as well. So that's going to be an episode.
That's
I think that's 7 episodes I mentioned. So there's 3 of them that I don't know for sure, and also I don't know if there's overlap. I don't think there is going to be an overlap there, but
okay.
there's going to be other other episodes relating to other characters that obviously we've missed. It's probably going to be like an Ant-Man related one. Uh,
Yeah, what if Scott didn't? What if what's his name? Maurice was given the
Maurice.
suit. Maurice, Ant-Man's friend.
Oh, you mean the fast talking guy?
What if he got the suit?
That'd be funny. Oh my god. Oh, I do want
He's
to see that
telling
now.
Scott the story of how he got the suit, and it's just
That'd be so good.
I'd watch that. I'm trying to think quickly of other what ifs that could be throughout all of
It's
them.
gonna have to be about characters that haven't really appeared much in that wouldn't appear much in other episodes.
Yeah, they'll
But
probably
then
do
Iron
one
Man
for
is central on
Captain.
two of them somehow.
They'll probably do one for Captain Marvel.
Yes, they would do.
Yeah.
I don't know what it would be.
What if Marvel survived the crash or whatever? Something
Oh
maybe
yeah.
like that.
Even though
Um,
Marvel is a shit character that never should have existed. I'm
or they
salty,
should just,
I'm willing to admit.
or they just should have kept the original Marvel and not the whatever they did in the film.
Yeah.
Um, what other?
Something with Nick Fury.
Yeah.
Oh, the Ant-Man villain Helmet was in the void of episode 5 of Loki, don't know his name. Oh,
Oh, Yellow
Yellow
Jacket.
Jacket. Yeah, that's the one. I read
Interesting.
that somewhere as well. Yeah, that's quite cool as well.
That is cool.
You know, I forget
That
about Yellow Jacket. He was not the greatest villain. I'm willing to admit.
let's be fair. Most of Marvel's villains aren't that great. But to be fair, most of the plots don't circle around the villains; they circle around
Yeah,
the characters.
because
Well, the plots circle around them, but the best part of the films aren't about the villains and the plot; it's about the characters and
yeah,
the
because his
adventure.
entire role in the film was just, "Hey, Michael Douglas, I'm a big fan of yours, and now I am going to buy your company. And if you don't like it, I will destroy you."
I imagine at some point, just randomly, they'll probably do a what if Steve Rogers was part of Hydra
I think that would be
as a
cool.
as a nod to Secret Empire.
Yeah, they probably should do.
Yeah. Um, they'll do a bunch of stuff, whether it's for the first season or later season, because I imagine they won't just do one season because it will be successful. Because people like the what if stuff,
Yeah,
and now they're gonna get it. I wonder how long the episodes will be though.
I don't think I think they're gonna be like the standard, like
20 minutes.
20 minutes. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
it'll
could
be
be
interesting.
40 because there's enough to tell. But in terms of like the animation work that goes into it, which by the way looks fucking
Actually,
phenomenal.
to be fair, because they don't have to adhere to TV rules for adverts, which is like 30-minute time slots and therefore 20 minutes of show and then 10 minutes of ads. It
That's
could be
true.
30 minute. It could be 30-minute episodes.
It's true.
But yeah, fair. They might do multiple parts for each for certain arcs. That might be a
Yes,
little bit over.
but there's only going to be 10 episodes. But a season 2
Yeah.
has pretty much been confirmed.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
so basically,
Yeah.
if they don't play it all out at once, then they still have like
Each
more
episode
ideas that
ends.
they can come up with. Yeah,
Each episode ends on a cliffhanger, and you have to wait till the next season for them to finish it.
yeah, literally.
I would both love that and hate that at the same time. But anyway,
I'm really
um,
looking forward to the Spider-Man
I'm looking.
Sorcerer Supreme one.
Sounds so stupid, but amazing. But anyway, we'll end it there now, officially,
Yes,
guys. But yeah,
but thank you very
thanks
much for watching.
and for tuning in. Catch you guys next time.
Yeah, see you next week when we talk about other things or not. It really it's it depends on the days as they go at this point.
Yeah.
But you'll see us. Uh, you'll see us.